I saw Horror Story, the Bollywood classic. And Charlie, you saw
sign.
hashtag horror.
For those of you who can't see me, I'm making the hashtag symbol with my fingers.
Oh, thank God. I'm so glad you are. Steve has to figure out which one is good on the other side.
Are you ready for Movie Versus? Welcome to Movie Versus, the podcast where we pin two terrible movies in an all-out battle for the best of the worst. Here are your hosts, Tyler Lamb, Charlie Pixley, and Steve Janik. All on Movie Versus!
Hey everybody, this is Movie Versus, the podcast in defense of bad movies. My name is Tyler Lamb, and joining us back again, the little giggles over here.
That was not a giggle. That was a little thing of pain.
I thought you were going to say the little engine that could.
I was adjusting the way I sat, and I hurt myself in the process. I'm all right now, though.
Okay, thank God. That is Charlie Pixley.
Because Tyler does
back.
not want to just host with me ever again.
Yeah, that was a nightmare. What's up, Chuck?
I'm ready to talk about this movie that had maybe more emojis than the Emoji Movie did.
Oh man, that'd be insane. That'd be very.
Damn, now I wish that Tyler had it so we could actually confirm which had more emojis.
And then that with that hard hitting question, that is Steve Janik. How's it going, Steve?
It's not going bad. Aside from. Did you think I was going to say it's not great?
It's not going well, guys.
No,
my life is grumbling.
I'm very, very depressed.
For those who listen intently, we actually are recording these very close together. So I'm still hot off the end of Medea 2 or Boo 2
Yeah.
and Medea Halloween. So that's still tainting my life.
What about for those who listen absent-mindedly?
Absent-mindedly,
Mm-hmm.
Everything's great.
You don't have
zero problems.
You don't have much for them. Okay, good. So yeah, on this I saw Horror Story, which was a Bollywood movie. And Charlie, you saw the movie #horror. And Steve, you are here with the journalistic integrity that you have, all your hard hitting questions to try to figure out which one you think is better.
Yes.
So let's get it going, because that's what we do on this podcast.
Yeah, similar to what we did for Charlie and Tyler's. I'm going with the one. It's horror. Two, I'm going with the I'm choosing to call them tricks, which are the scary parts. Treats, I only have two of those on this one because one, that might be. It's mostly just to even out the questions so that there can be a clear winner on questions.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay.
And so I guess we'll start off with Tyler. Tyler, I want to hear about this Bollywood. Just give me a framework that way when we get these questions going, I can know where they're.
Yeah.
Where
So
these pieces fit.
it's a hotel that was has rumors of being haunted. They even kind of make fun of it a little bit at the beginning, because people are like, oh, there's ghosts, and they're like, yeah, okay, we hear all the stories like it was it used to be an insane asylum, or built on a graveyard, stuff like that. They're like, yeah, whatever, it's not. And then they're like, okay, no, it's real. It's all.
Damn it, Charlie.
I don't.
Because it's Bollywood. They're in India. I said Indian burial ground. I didn't put it together fast enough. Charlie did. Now I look like a jerk.
that is pretty. Well, no, because you were talking about
It's a densely populated place.
It
It probably is.
Yeah. And and one of the guys is like, no, let's just go check it out then. Let's go. And they, as a group, all go check it out. And of course, crazy shit starts happening. There's ghosts and shit, and people are dying. And so I mean, that's pretty much the movie is.
So they're just there to check it out. There's nothing.
Well, I mean, yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
They're pretty much just there to check it out.
Okay.
They were. It was brought attention to them because the guy who owned the place just killed himself there. Like, he went there and killed himself, and they're like, there's a news story on TV wherever they're hanging out.
And then they hear about the lore of it.
Yeah, and that's when they start.
Hey, let's go check it out, because they're
pretty much
stupid kids.
Pretty much, yeah, I guess.
Can I ask Tyler a question? Because I didn't hear the prequel yet. Is the wheelchair as prominent in the movie as it is in that trailer?
Steve and I did not finish watching the trailer.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But there is
because it's almost, it seems like the main villain.
wait, is this Dream Warriors?
I don't
know. The wheelchair definitely has like a part.
Okay.
But I wouldn't say it's not the main villain. No.
Gotcha.
It's hard to explain.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll hear about it a little bit at some point.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's easy to explain, but
we're saving it for
I'll save it.
Okay. So Charlie, hit me with the framework.
Okay, so there's this really, really nice house in the middle of, I think, like upstate New York, and this story revolves around a bunch of 12-year-old girls that are having some sort of just get together, and there's the new girl involved, and she, like, all these kids are rich, and she, of course, is just the, average, middle of the road, normal, like, average person, and they figure out that their house used to be owned by this crazy artist who killed a bunch of people one day. He went psycho and just obliterated his entire dinner party, and it deals with them kind of getting more and more creeped out by that, and the parent that is there is so absent-minded. Then she's like, all right, I'm gonna run out for like an hour, and they're really like plugged into their phones and everything. They decide, like, all right, we need to let's just hang out, let's lock them up. They had a safe in the house, let's put them in the safe. Well, let's just hang out for an hour, and then shit starts to hit the fan.
Okay.
Literally.
All right. Well, I guess.
What else can we do without our phones?
Well, once I saw a monkey.
So because I think we'll roll into your first trick, Charlie.
And those are spooky things, right?
Those are the spooky things.
Okay.
I wrote down like a kickflip.
It was your submitted trick list for your ice skating routine for the Olympics.
Yeah.
You see a 12-year-old girl grind a surfboard.
a triple cow.
Okay, so my first scare is that you see a 12-year-old girl get prison shanked in the stomach multiple times.
Holy shit.
And all these girls look their age, too. They look very, just like children.
So no, there's no 30-year-olds playing 12-year-olds?
So Chloe Grace Moretz or whatever her name is doesn't pop up. Her and Dakota Fanning had to sit this one out.
No.
Yeah, because they're finally old.
Yeah, I know, but they still always play like fucking 15-year-olds.
That's true. How old is Chloe Moretz?
She's got to be over 21.
Man. Probably.
All right. Okay. All right.
So that was just jarring. Like, oh, okay, they are going to show children get murdered. What, Tyler?
I'm just thinking like how, because I mean it's already pretty morbid having a 12-year-old getting prison shanked. Was she like screaming like, "Oh, I don't want to die"? Oh.
Yeah, she's like,
"It hurts."
And it's a child, and it's a any kid that age, boy or girl, it's just like their screaming is so much higher pitched. It's even more unsettling, just
like blood curdling.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah,
right. Mm-hmm. All right, Tyler, why don't you hit me with your first trick?
I'm gonna go with the first kill of the movie, which is they're in the, so there's like a specific room where kind of the lore of everything kind of happened. It's like, oh, in this room this shit happened, and
the epicenter.
And so that's the room they go to at first, and one of the guys is like doing a little like, oh man, yeah, just think, I forget the name of the girl that was in there that is now like the alleged ghost killer. Mm-hmm. Let's just say, Hannah. So he's like, oh, can you just imagine? Hannah was here and she did this, and then she went over here, and then she went into the shower, and then when he said that, the shower turns on, and so they're all like, what the fuck? That's a crazy coincidence. And so he starts like, it's this shot of like him going into the shower to be like, okay, what the fuck is this? And they're all kind of behind him, and he's being a little like slow with it because obviously he's like, what the fuck is going? And you see him grab the curtain, and right as he starts to open it, it just the door to the shower immediately just shuts, and like quick cuts of like everybody like, well, what the fuck? Like we gotta get him, and then when they finally get in, he's just dead in the shower, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? But it was the first death, and it was the first like, I didn't expect that kind of quick cut, quick like just immediate jarring of doors slamming, and it happened like it was edited well with him tearing open the. Yeah, it was pretty good. Pretty good little spook. Or a trick, my bad.
Sounds like a fucked up Smart House remake.
Yeah, there wasn't even a theme song, dude.
All right, okay. So, Tyler, why don't you roll that into your first treat, or as you like to call it, goofs.
Yeah, a little gaff. This one, there was a scene where they're like, we gotta go. So they realize that there's electricity in the building because like there's a light bulb, and they're like, wait, hold on, there's electricity here. That means we can we can go to like the area and get. I forget the exact. They need to get to the terrace. They're like, oh, let's go to the terrace. So us two, we're gonna go to the terrace and we're gonna get this figured out. And they're like trying to get to the terrace, and they're like, okay, where the fuck is it? You know? And they look and they see a sign that says terrace, and one of the guys goes, must be here. and he wasn't. There was like no ounce of satirical irony.
Like it was very serious.
Yeah, it must be here.
like he pulled up like the Batman, like he looks down, like, finds some dirt in
exactly
in a shoe print.
Yeah,
it's like must be here.
Guys, I think we're getting close.
Yeah, so I thought that was pretty funny.
All right, Charlie, first goof.
All right, so the first time that the middle-income girl is over at their party, and I mean, this house is incredible. It's massive, and all the chicks say she's walking in, and before she enters the room, she hears them all talking shit on her, and she stops, and she feels bad. And you feel kind of bad for her because they're saying some really fucked up stuff. And then she's like, she collects herself. She just goes in anyway because she's already there, and it's one of those like neighborhoods where all the houses are really far apart.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't just like walk home or anything. She was already dropped off. So she goes in, and all the girls are wearing the exact same thing because I guess they just got back from school, and it's like just a school uniform.
Okay.
And the one girl is like, hey, what's up? And she hands her a cigarette, like with those eyes, like smoking's fucking cool. And the girl picks it up. She's hesitant to take it because you can tell she's never smoked before, and she's 12.
What a fucking loser!
Right.
So she picks it up, she takes a drag, and she's like, ugh. And then the girl that handed her the cigarette also pulls up her own vape pen and sucks on it and goes, vape pen's so much better. And she just handed her the real cigarette. So I that's when I paused and I was like, yeah.
She did a little hang loose and was like,
did it like the green light at the end too. She's like, ripped a fat cloud.
All right, okay.
Man, these kids were really fucking cool.
I know,
Holy
man.
shit.
I know. They probably would have bullied the shit out of me.
Yeah. They would have.
So I think for that, back to Charlie. Trick number 2.
Okay, mine don't have a lot of setup because there's not a lot of setup needed. So the second trick is seeing a 12-year-old girl get her throat slit open and blood shooting out everywhere.
Jesus Christ, this movie is a lot more violent than I would have. Like that trailer did not.
I don't think.
Correct.
Like the only blood in the trailer was like that clearly fake like cascade of blood into like the pool area. Like it was clearly like I'm sure it was
that
something
doesn't
like
really happen.
Yeah,
like
I figured it was something like that. So like that's what I'm saying. Like it clearly was that. Like I would not have expected these things from that trailer.
No, this is like somebody comes up behind her and grabs the top of her head very quickly and just bends her head back in like an ISIS style video, just like
Jesus Christ.
Is there a reason she does it? Like, is it just because
why
like
she gets killed?
Yeah, like
that goes into more of the story of it. So there's another girl that not the new girl. She's starting to fit in. She kind of gets a little twisted in order to fit in. You know, she starts like They all bully
Vaping.
each other, kind of. This is all one big don't smoke ad. She starts kind of picking on some of the other kids to fit in, but the one is just really sick of it all, and she goes a little crazy and leaves the house, and she's gone for most of the movie, and then people start dying. So,
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So they aren't able to have her call the police because she's not there.
And none of them can call the police because they all lock their phones up, and the 12-year-old girl threw the key outside of the window.
Wait.
Which everybody goes, what the fuck? Like, we agreed to putting our phones away. Why didn't you just, like, hide it or just use self-restraint?
All right, fair enough. All right, Tyler. Trick 2.
Yeah, so there was a scene where this is actually not too long after the terrace line when they're like, okay, so they're like going to the terrace, and at this point you haven't seen any like ghosts or anything like that. It's just been the people like that are inside of the house, and it's all been kind of
mundane.
Yeah, well, not mundane, but like that shower death scene.
Right. Yeah,
we didn't see the thing.
Right.
Yeah, it's implied stuff, or like some weird stuff has happened and stuff like that. And there was like all of a sudden when they're walking down this hallway, you just hear someone say "excuse me." And it's like this ghost nurse thing. Like they just see like a nurse standing in the hallway, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And for some reason, that "excuse me" actually like kind of scared me a little. I was like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" Because, like I said, we have not seen. I mean, this was maybe 20 to 30 minutes in. We have not seen any other like type of thing inside of this place. So like,
was she like a 30s smoking nurse? Like, excuse me.
No, she was actually like one of the pinup kind of nurses. Yeah, and she was like, "Excuse me." No, she just
This is my medical corset that's I'm supposed to wear.
Hey, that's for her scoliosis.
But no, it was just very like I wasn't expecting it, so I was just kind of like, oh, okay, that's this is now like a thing that's happening in the movie. But yeah, definitely, it's not as jarring as seeing a 12-year-old get their throat slit, but it was it was a little spoopy.
Guys, I'm real fucked up after this movie.
After this movie,
I watched the whole thing on Live Leak, though, and it didn't have any credits or an intro card, so maybe I was just watching snuff films.
I was gonna ask because you said it was like an ISIS beheading film. I was gonna say, so you watched it on YouTube and it had ads, so they were able to get paid for it.
Uh-huh.
Jesus. So after that, Tyler, why don't you give me the best trope?
Oh,
best
trope. Okay,
we're gonna move.
Well, no, best use of a trope. I thought you said.
Yeah.
Like, so it was okay.
Yeah.
So, and Charlie kind of mentioned it, so I'm guessing it's also in all horror movies like this now. There's always oh my god, no reception, or like get rid of all your and. So that's become a trope because it's kind of something that you have to.
It's writing easier. I mean,
yeah, and the way that they did that in this movie, I thought it was kind of interesting. Was as they were like walking into the hotel, one of the characters gets a phone call from his dad, and so he's like talking to his dad. He's like, "Oh, hey, hold on, guys, like." You go ahead of me a little bit.
Right.
He's like, my dad's calling me. He's like, oh, hey, Dad, what's up? And they're like walking in, and he's talking to his dad. And as he's on the phone, it just like the call drops. And he's like, oh, what the fuck? The call dropped. And he's like, okay, that's weird. And that was, it was not a like, oh my God, does anybody have reception?
Right.
It was, but it was a more subtle way to tell you like, oh yeah, hey, they don't have.
We're sticking your fucking.
It was.
face in it.
I mean, that was like how I felt about in My Soul to Take when like they showed that like the nurse was the woman who died's sister. Like it didn't feel forced. Like they like built something around. Okay, yeah. Sorry.
You should be.
Okay. Charlie.
Okay,
hit me with your trope.
So towards the end of the movie, there's only a few girls left, and then the father of the girl that was kicked out of the house. So the one that I said like disappears for most of the movie, they kicked her out because she just started saying she crossed the line with the bullying. Like we're all bullying each other, and like you just have to fucking go. Her father then starts looking for her.
What does she say?
It's all just a combination. Well, there's one girl that's bigger, and she starts ripping on her for being fat, and then the main chick whose house it is, the daughter that lives in the house, is not her house. starts ripping on her and like her parents not being there and stuff.
Oh,
but I didn't think it was much worse than what the other chicks were saying. They were all like really going in on each other.
Mm-hmm.
But I think since it was her house, she's like, no, you got to get out of here.
Yeah.
So she boots her out. The parent is looking for her, even barges in at some point. It's like, what the fuck is going on? This isn't the first incident where you guys have gotten pissed at each other. Where's my daughter? Because I just got a voicemail saying she's out in the woods and she doesn't know where she is. So I'm fucking pissed that you guys would kick her out of the house. And where's the mother at?
Yeah,
why is there no adult home?
Why is it just a bunch of unsupervised 12-year-olds?
So the movie keeps going, and we get little snippets here and there of the backstory between that father and the daughter, and the mother had just recently died, and you could tell that the girl just wasn't handling it well. So it's revealed that the girl was doing all the killing, and it's like a faraway shot of her pulling off the mask while the father is inside with the two remaining girls. And they're like, look, it's your daughter that's doing all the killing. And the guy's like, oh, man, this I didn't think it would ever get this far or something like this, as far as there were other incidents and stuff. So that was when I was happy with, that it wasn't just like, oh, this girl's a killer, because that was pretty obvious. But then you get into a little more twisted stuff with the father then being in on it, and then how the children proceed from there.
So the dad was in on the killing?
Not in on it, but like he knew she was on the edge,
okay.
that like she probably shouldn't be left alone without any adult supervision ever.
What was the mask?
It was okay. So the father of the guy who owns the nice house is an artist, so he has like all those weird. I don't know if you saw the picture on Netflix. All these weird like those Uncanny Valley human masks.
Yeah, I know
but each person had a different one. So one was like 5 o'clock shadow. One was like blue eye shadow and stuff like that. I can't remember which one she had, but it just looked like an adult man on a 12-year-old girl's body.
Yeah, no, I was meaning like starring Jim Carrey. What was the mask?
Oh, son of the mask.
No, that's the one with Jamie Kennedy.
Yeah.
The better one.
Yeah.
With the dancing dog, right?
And Trailer Howard.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so no, wait, yeah, Steve, you're the one doing this.
Yeah.
So
yes, I am.
So that was my trope in that. It wasn't just the character reveal, then it was also a little misdirection that like, oh, okay, so this father is kind of fucked up too, that he would just let her, like, oh, I didn't think it would get like this bad. It's like, yeah, but if you knew, you should tell people that.
He was not like this.
No,
not like this.
Not like this.
Yeah, exactly like that.
That's what I mean.
No, not like this.
They spliced in that scene.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Charlie will move back into tricks. Your third trick here.
Okay, so in the final showdown, they're all like trying on their parents' clothing because they have a huge, walk-in closet. And that's the first like party scene. Is they're all just, doing, I don't know, whatever young girls do, like trying on clothes, like their parents'
fashion
clothes and shit.
show.
I don't fucking know.
Dude, they obviously play with their easy bake ovens.
And she
Wait, when was this movie made?
The mother then lets them into like the jewelry closet before she leaves to kind of keep them distracted while she can go out for a bit. And
they,
is she out working?
She's hammered.
Sorry,
no,
and
they're all like hell.
They also play what was Secret Crush? Was that the name of that board game with the phone call?
Mystery date game.
where you have to figure out who your secret crush is by and they call you and it's like they obviously do
blue
that.
eyes, it's Johnny.
while all on the floor laying on their stomachs with their feet up in the air.
Mm-hmm. So
while talking on that see-through corded phone.
this one girl finds a bedazzled gun, like a big revolver with a gold chain around it, so you can hold it like a purse.
Okay.
So then another girl. So that's early on. So
how far down how long is the chain? Like how far down does it go?
It would be like under your armpit.
Does the chain hang low?
Serious?
It's just like a clutch or something.
That's like really inconvenient.
Uh-huh.
If you
because then you just shoot it. You shoot from the chest.
I think it's called shooting from the pit.
Yeah, shoot from the pit.
I'm really proud of that one.
That was solid.
Dude, all people in Call of Duty that use the shoot from the pit perk, fucking cowards, dude.
Fuck those guys.
So that girl has that gun, and then other main girl at the end has a showdown where she finds another gun, and this is a massive hand cannon, and they are in like a Mexican standoff, but just with 2 people. So it's not really one, but they're just holding their guns at each other looking. And the one main girl who's the killer, who has the bedazzled gun, which it is pretty fancy looking.
Wait, so the main girl? Wait.
The main girl is not the killer girl.
So the killer girl has the bedazzled gun?
Yeah, the main girl is the average girl.
Gotcha.
That makes me sound like a dick, but you know what I mean. I'm not saying like average, like that. I mean just like the everyday person, the middle American, every child. They're holding their guns at each other, and this one, the other girl's just like, just do it, just shoot me, blah blah blah. And then the mom is driving home at the time, and then it looks like they're about to shoot each other, and then the other girl just pulls a gun in and blows her own brains out. The 12-year-old, I'm like, holy fuck! As the mom is like pulling in. Not of that daughter, but just like still seeing a 12-year-old.
Does the daughter
like,
who lives there make it, by the way?
No.
Okay.
Jeez, the way you said that was very... No.
Few do.
Yikes.
All right, Tyler, final main trick.
She just like turns it on herself and just... And they show a lot of it.
So there's a scene in the movie where... Would they figure out that in order to that it did used to be a sane asylum before it became a hotel, and that the ghost was a patient there that was electrocuted, I think, or something like that, and they realized that one of the times she was getting the treatment, she like was able to reverse it somehow. So now like she's still a ghost because pretty much like that's where she gets her power from. Like it's almost like a totem kind of thing. Like, and that might be a Hindu kind of religion. I feel like there's a lot of like Hindu religious stuff in this movie that I would have understood more if I knew more about Hinduism. And I think this might have been one of those things. And so they were like, okay, we need to destroy that thing, like set it on fire. And they're like, but okay, where the fuck are we gonna get fire? And they're like, okay, well, there's a kitchen. They probably got kerosene or petrol or something,
or your mixtape.
Yeah, exactly. or Tyler's mixtape lying around somewhere. We just need headphones now. So they're like, okay, well, we're gonna go find go to the kitchen, and there's a part where him and this girl kind of get split up a little bit. But not, they're still both in the kitchen, and she sees this somebody sitting in a chair like at the end of the hallway in the kitchen with a newspaper, and she but facing her, so she just sees the back of the newspaper and like the feet, and the person's reading the newspaper as if it's like the next day's newspaper, and about how all of them died inside of the house.
All right,
like reading the names, and she's like she says and it's also like detailing what is exactly happening right then. It's like, and then I think the character's name might have been Maggie. It's like then Maggie walks in and saw somebody in the kitchen sitting there reading the newspaper, and she slowly started walking towards him, and then then something happened and then the guy kind of like is like, hey Maggie, what the like where were you? And then she looks back and it's gone. She's like, oh okay, I thought I saw something. It's like, okay, whatever, let's just find this fucking kerosene and get going. But it turns out that was like a ghost doppelganger of the dude she was with. So because then she like goes off, and then it kind of like pans over to where the actual guy was, and he like turns around and she's gone, and he's like, Maggie. Maggie. But then they start walking away. She realizes he's a doppelganger because then they're walking down a hallway and there's a light and he doesn't have a shadow, and she's like, oh fuck. but yeah, so that was kind of a little spoopy thing. And also I was like, oh, apparently I did not know that this ghost could do that.
Right. Ability unlocked.
Yeah, that would be terrifying.
All right, so Tyler, why don't you go into your last treat? This one?
So the movie starts out with them all in like a club hanging out, like because I think one of them's about to go to America, like move to America, so they're like going away party,
right? And
so they're doing whatever, and whenever they decide to go to the hotel, it's all dramatic, and they're like, some of them are like, no, I don't know, but. And they're like, okay, well, then let's fucking go. And there's there's a like minute or so long shot of there's probably like 5 or 6 people in this group, maybe 6. Yeah, I think it's 3 girls and 3 guys, 6 people, and they do one of those things where it's like a kind of like a dolly shot, but not really. Like it's the cameras on a little like track, a tracking shot then probably, and a tracking shot of each.
I don't know, man.
A tracking shot of each person's like face and reaction, like scared face of like them having to go going to this, and like dramatic music and so like and it's for 6 different people, and it's not like a quick just like look at the person. It's a slow pan of like them like
and one of them is Kelso smoking weed.
Yeah, exactly. The last one is
it's when Kurtwood Smith smokes the weed.
And so that was kind of funny because it was just like trying to be overly dramatic in that moment, but then by the like 4th person it was just like
we're still doing this.
Yeah, I was like okay, and then it just kind of seemed more ridiculous by number 6. You're like, alrighty then.
The last person just yawns like on the panel.
All right, Charlie, hit me with your second treat.
Okay, I had one written down, but I'll probably mention that later. I'm going to switch to another one that I really laughed hard at. So the father, after he confronts the girls in the house and he leaves to keep looking for his daughter, he finds the mother, and the mother that left them alone, and he's talking to her outside this church, and he's just frantic because you could tell he doesn't have his shit together because he just lost his wife recently, and now he's worried about his daughter too. Understandable.
Yeah, completely
and he goes
reasonable.
up to this lady, and he's just yelling at her like, why the fuck would you leave these kids alone? And this lady's a little drunk and stuff. And she goes, they're 12. They're almost teenagers. They're fine. They're not animals. And he just deadpan goes, you're right. They're fucking beasts. Something about that was so funny to
me. Wow.
Beasts.
Right.
I don't know. I still think Must Be Here for the Terrace was the best one in my opinion out of all these treats.
Duly noted.
Duly noted that I think I'm the best.
Yeah, I'm pretty much used to that.
Okay.
All right, so for the next question, this one's going to be it was kind of tailored to both of you, but I might have to change Charlie's now that I know a little bit more about his movie. But I will start with Tyler. Tyler, was there a Bollywood music number? And if there was not, where would you put it?
No, there was not a Bollywood musical number in my movie. But if I were to add one, it would be, there's a scene, so one of the girls is the only one left at the end.
Okay.
And she's trying to get out alive / like figure out how to kill, because they don't they were able to get the thing covered in kerosene, but the lighter that he had wouldn't light, and then that guy got killed. And so she's like, I'm fucked. And she runs into the main lobby area, and she sees there was a moment in the movie where they had a Jeep. They found a Jeep in like the parking garage area, and it was like a company, like the hotel's Jeep, but they weren't able to get out. And so she sees the Jeep, and she also sees like ghost versions of all her friends and all the people that like have died and so that's obviously when all those ghosts would break into
Ghost version.
Into a number about how it's good to be a ghost or something, and she should join them, and
they all float down there.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
All right.
And I can't think of a name for the song because I'm not witty enough,
Yeah, I know. I do know that. So, Charlie,
How is that question tailored for Charlie?
No, we'll see.
Is there a Bollywood musical number in your movie?
Yes.
Well, see, I was going to ask Charlie about like the most ridiculous plot point that they used with their tech, like with their phones. Like, what was But at the time, I didn't realize, when I made the question, I didn't realize that they like took all their phones and put them in a safe. So, does that still work? Is there like a ridiculous like plot point that they used technologically?
Not like one ridiculous plot point, but when they do have their phones, there's tons of times where like all the time they're taking like the movie freeze frames, and then it's like Instagram filtered, uploaded, and then like a hashtag going on with the scene. So for the one when she's making fun of her, like the one, it even puts fat tranny bitch over the one girl's name, and like it looks like the person's like modifying the photo and stuff, and then it's like shows the likes going up and stuff, and it's for like everything going on. So I mean, visually it was cool with flipping through the filters really quick, and then selecting one, like upload it, boom.
Yeah,
it was all extremely quick. Sometimes so quick I couldn't even read it, which isn't a good thing. But it was like it didn't linger on it. It was just boom, boom, boom. Okay, on with the movie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So I don't know. That's not really a good answer for the question.
I mean, I actually do. I like that answer.
Okay.
So like that works.
Damn it.
Okay. So I believe. Okay. So when I was originally.
Steve even has pages of notes when he's not seeing the movie.
Well, I know. Okay, it's because I redecided. Like as we started talking, I realized that how I had it set up was not going to work.
Yeah.
So I started over. But the last question I have is, when I was originally trying to decide for these movies, I noticed that there were 2 Chucky movies that I had not seen on Netflix. However,
is the newest one on Netflix?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, fuck yeah.
I know, man.
I did not know that.
Yeah. So
what was the one before Cult?
Curse? They're both on Netflix.
Yeah, I've seen Curse because that one ends with what's his name gets the
Andy.
Chucky. Yeah, Andy gets the Chucky doll delivered to his house, and it's fucking awesome because then Chucky gets out of the box, and it's just Andy standing there with a fucking shotgun, and he's like, "Fuck you."
So when I was originally doing this, I checked that because I saw that there were 2 Chucky movies, Curse and Cult. So I checked them.
Is
However,
Brad Dourif back for Cult?
I don't know. I would imagine.
All I know is that Cult was outside of the range, which is why
it's like a 90 something. It
was like 82 something.
Very good things.
Yeah. So for this last question, what would Chucky's favorite part have been? Use a voice if you can.
Jesus.
A voice of what?
Chucky.
What is it? He's like, man, hey, you're a fucking little kid. Yeah. Okay.
Oh, this is gonna be great.
Yeah.
Would you like me to go?
Do you have if you have an answer?
Sure. I'm Chucky, and I would like this movie because lots of fucking kids die. It's pretty straightforward.
That's true. That's true.
He likes to try to kill children. In fact, some might say it's his sole motivation. His sole motivation.
Sometimes Charlie says something, and I can just see Tyler's eyes light up as he, if he's not close enough to his microphone, it's like almost as if he's running back to it by leaning.
Yeah, I was mid-stretch on that one, and I I think my eyes were even closed, and I just
No, yeah, it was jarring.
So that's mine.
Yeah, that was pretty easy. My favorite part of this movie would be when these dumb fucks walked into the hotel to get themselves killed. Fucking idiots. I don't know. He cusses a lot, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he definitely does do that.
That was so stupid.
Wow, I can't believe we really booked Chucky himself for this podcast.
Yeah, thanks.
It was pretty easy. We just summoned him.
Thanks, Chucky. No problem, fuckers. I don't know. Don't slit my Achilles heel.
Mm-hmm.
He did that in Child's Play 3, didn't he?
I think he's done a couple of them.
Andy.
Yeah, he does. He does that a lot. Let me just do some.
It was 3 that he was in the where Andy was in the military school though, right?
Yes.
Yeah, is that the one that ends in the amusement park or no?
Yes. Yeah, because for some reason they're like near a carnival or something. Like military school has like a carnival
like
nearby.
you do.
And because they were out on like the maneuvers like training thing, and then I guess because they're like out in the woods, they like get far enough away that they like sneak onto they end up at a carnival,
something like that. For creepiness reasons.
So, while I tally up the actual questions, why don't we go into final thoughts? So, anything that didn't get covered in the jokes or in the tricks, the treats, anything that you want to add in, that sort of thing. So, Tyler, why don't you start off with that?
Yeah, this was so. I realized I might have I was thinking about putting this in real thoughts, but I'm just gonna Actually, no, I will put that in Real Thoughts instead, just because I think it'll sound funnier, I guess. But the movie was very, like, it was shot really well. Like, I've never seen a Bollywood movie before. I don't know if, I know that the musical number is like a trope of Bollywood movies and stuff. But I guess I was going in and assuming that it was going to be like low quality, but it was not. It was very high quality. Like, it looked good. Like, it was shot well. It was obviously shot by somebody who knew how to make a movie, and the actors were all good as well. I mean, definitely way better than anybody in that fucking Medea movie.
Wouldn't have been difficult.
That's true. Charlie,
so it was open casting.
Yeah, Charlie.
Well, I mean, it was all YouTube recruitment.
Yeah.
Once again.
No, I mean Tyler's movie, since they were all better than the
exactly.
movie.
He's saying for my
yeah.
The one thing, man, I'm trying to think of what I want to say. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I was just surprised at how well made it was, and I mean, I don't think that it wasn't. I don't know. I guess I just I had such low expectations, and
that's fair.
Yeah, but I guess that's about all I have left to say.
All right, sounds good. Charlie, final thoughts?
I was watching it this morning, and this is one of the weirdest movies I think I've ever seen in my entire life, as far as the Candy Crush wipes in the game. In the movie, and just what all is going on and how it's done, and it all looks good, and just what they do and who you think the main characters are, and it is just very weird to the point where I was watching. It's like, I mean, I guess I know what's going on, but this is just a really weird fucking movie, and that's. I mean, I was intrigued. I was curious, but just a lot of the stuff was just very weird, because I was expecting with the title #horror something closer to like Unfriended.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's what
digital,
I assumed when I originally put it in. When I just kind of like when I was like looking through the descriptions on Netflix about the different movies, I was like trying to pair them.
This was not that. It was very odd, peculiar. There we go.
All right. Well, I think I ended up tossing out the Chucky question and kind of judging based on the final thoughts.
No.
I thought it would. In my head,
it's still gonna be funny.
Yeah. In my head, it worked better than it did in practice. I'm sorry. But at the end of the day,
should have had us answer him like Michael Myers
or
Jason.
I actually was going to do that. My original thought was, what would Jason and Michael Myers respectively have been, because I know those are you guys' favorite.
And that's, I mean,
series.
Well, that's not as fair, because there's a whole like line of bracelets that say, "What would Jason do?" so I mean, that's already in the mindset. That's in the psyche of
that's true
of America. I mean,
that's
you see WWJD everywhere.
That's a good point. Mm-hmm. So at the end of the day, after tallying the points, Charlie won 5-3. It was close. Okay. I'm sorry.
You should be.
Apologize
to me more.
In the tricks
forever.
In the tricks, Charlie won the first one with a 12-year-old getting prison shanked. Tyler won the first.
That's a weird sentence. Charlie won with a 12-year-old getting prison shanked.
I worked hard for this.
Tyler took it with the Teresa, like the must be here, because I actually did agree with you. I was trying not to reveal it too early. Charlie did win with the 12-year-old slitting another 12-year-old's throat.
It makes it more fucked up too when you learn that it's another 12-year-old doing it.
Then the trope, I went with the father knowing about the unhinged girl over the cell phone, but that was surprisingly.
That's her.
It just looks funny to me.
that was surprisingly the closest one was the trope. I liked that they naturally did the cell phone loss over things. So that one was probably the closest. The trick. I actually liked Tyler's paper read, like the Tomorrow paper read, like the weird misdirect with the doppelganger ghost. After that, Oh, Charlie's when the dad's like, no, they're fucking beasts. that one, slightly on that one. And then I actually went with Charlie's freeze frame #filter over the Bollywood musical.
Oh, okay.
Thing, which was another like that.
All because I couldn't think of a name for a song.
Mostly that really hurt you. And then Tyler, I went with you for your final thoughts in how well made the movie was and the well casting. But that's it. Charlie wins by sneaking out.
#horror.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I was going to even find it at first because I was looking for the symbols, and I think they disabled that on Netflix. I was like, fuck, there's not even a hashtag I could choose. Like, I'll just put it in horror. Yeah, that's what I did immediately afterwards. And I was like, oh my God.
That's all I had to do.
I felt dumb for a second. I was like, I'm not going to be able to find this thing. Oh, I'll just put it in the word.
When I was like searching for movies, I just typed in horror.
Gotcha.
And I just like typed in.
Pick the first two after.
Well, no, like
Horror
those.
Story.
Well, no, those two. I was like, oh, these actually seem like they fit together, like they're good. So then I did those, and then I scrolled down quite a bit to try and find stuff.
So who do you want to hear real thoughts from first?
I want to hear real thoughts from. We'll start with you, Tyler.
All right. Well, I'm actually kind of upset that you didn't ask what was something that they did. What stupid thing did they do?
Oh.
Because I was going to play that off as if it was hard for me to pick something that they did was stupid. But no, everything they do in this movie is stupid. These people are the dumbest people ever. They first off, I mean, just going to the hotel itself, I did stupid.
Yeah, I was curious because you made it sound
always,
like there's no reason. Like, this shit just happened here. Let's just go look.
Yep. Yeah.
Wow. Sounds like more something my characters do because they're 12.
That nurse says, "Excuse me," and so they walk towards him. Oh yeah, how's it? What's up? Like,
no.
Yeah, exactly. Like shit like that throughout the movie. They realize that, oh hey, we need to stay together, and then immediately like, let's split up.
Classic.
Yeah. It's so there's and the thing I was gonna say in the real thoughts. Hindi may be like the weirdest language ever, and I didn't know this because I guess this isn't like how the language is spoken, and it might have just been this movie, but it was half English, half Hindi.
Oh,
like sometimes they would just talk in English.
That's Spanglish.
Sometimes that's Adam Sandler's movie.
Oh shit, you're right.
So I mean, it was really weird, but it was like almost in beats like that I got used to, like that they would talk in, if that makes sense. Like,
I know what you're saying.
But then also just the fact that like anybody with an accent, you know, like especially if it's a different language that they're speaking, it makes. Oh, do you need to take that? Any language that they're speaking, if they are interjecting a different language in between, like
it really throws you off.
Yeah, like I'm like, wait, hold on. Like, what did they say? Like,
because you're like, did they say an English word that I didn't understand?
Yeah,
or something.
Or did they say a word in a different language that sounded like an English word? Yeah, so they're like, that was kind of weird and surprising to me. I was like, wait, hold on. They just said like, I'm gonna get wasted tonight. Before they said more.
Halfway through, you're like, I understand Hindi.
Yeah, right at the beginning. They're a bunch of dumb fucks. The people in the movie. I said that after talking about the Hindi language. I wasn't talking about that culture. But there was that wheelchair was pretty funny, only because that was like the wheelchair I think that maybe the ghost girl was in at one point, but it's really only in one section of the movie with those two guys that are with the nurse, and then one of them like they find the wheelchair and he like starts going towards it and it like kills him somehow, like he gets pushed against a wall. Like the wheelchair doesn't move.
The wheelchair body checks him.
Yeah, but then the one guy like is running away and he hides and he goes.
The wheelchair comes to the room, looks around, leaves. Does it really?
It might as well have. He goes into the room and he hides behind something, but he didn't close the door all the way, so the door like opens back up to the room that he went in, and you see like he's hiding behind something, getting scared, like covering his mouth with his hands, which also his hands were gigantic.
That's why he was using them to cover his mouth.
I saw that in the trailer where he's holding his mouth. I thought it was going to be like they were going to pull away and it was somebody else's hands. He like realized it because it didn't even look like they should be his.
They were
like Andre the fucking Giant's hands on his face.
Yes.
Which that would have been funny too, to be like, these aren't even my own hands on my face.
Also, Andre the Giant's alive.
No, it's his ghost.
Oh no, Andre the Giant's ghost.
But then since the door like opens back up, you do see the wheelchair like roll past.
This is the end of the trailer.
It was patrolling the hallways. And I wrote that down as one of my goofs, but I didn't say it because I felt like it might have been too much. But yeah, it definitely looked like that fucking wheelchair was like patrol. And if it just like stopped and would have turned to the open door and then turned back and kept rolling.
I know what you're saying, but like in my head, all I can think about is basically like a wheelchair version of the vegetable can from Wet Hot American Summer.
Yes, pretty much. And then there's Charlie, you were gonna say something.
Well, at the end of the trailer, it's that scene where he's holding his mouth and it pans out, and you can see that door, and you see the wheelchair roll by, and then it like says the name of the movie, and then every horror trailer, then you do your one jump scare or something. The jump scare was then they show that same shot, but then the wheelchair rolls backwards by the door, and it's like. Like trying to scare us. Like, what the fuck? It's an empty chair.
But it's moving on its own, Charlie.
I guess.
Uneven floors.
So there's I like that there's a ghost there too, but yet it still needs a wheelchair.
Yeah. Well, and that kind of correlates to a joke that because Kevin saw me watching some of it, the beginning when they're still kind of walking around, and one of them like kicks a can down a dark hallway, and they just keep walking, and then the can rolls back.
Oh, that is also
and then they all kind of like come back into the room because they're like, wait, what? which was kind of good, like that they were like, hold on a second.
Like that's not something.
And they all like walk back to the can. They're like, and so they like kick it into the hallway again, and it rolls back again. And Kevin goes, oh, uneven floors.
That's obviously a skate room with a half pipe up against the wall.
Yeah, exactly.
Or a quarter pipe.
Exactly. And then, of course, they then proceed to walk down the said dark... Exactly. Like, just dumb fuckory throughout the movie. There's a scene where this girl, they figure out, all this stuff somehow... I honestly don't know how they figure it out. There's one girl, you think she gets killed by the ghost, but then later she comes back, and she just... I guess she like had a fucking sit down with the ghost, and the ghost explained everything to her.
They hash things out,
and she was like, "No, her name is such and such," and she did, and she tells us everything. Her name was like Mara or something like that. And they're walking somewhere, and they're like, "We just need to find a way we need to figure out what she wants, because then we can appease her spirit and it's all good. So we just need to figure out what she wants." And all of a sudden, her phone starts ringing. And she picks up her phone. She looks at everybody, and she's like,
"It's got a photo of the wheelchair for the contact."
and she turns the phone to all of them, and it says Mara, incoming call. And I thought that was pretty fucking funny. I wrote that as well on my goofs.
That's like scary movie shit.
Yeah, exactly. And she's like, "Oh man!" So she answers it. She's like. She puts it to her ear, and I wanted her to be like, "Hello?" But she didn't say, I don't think she said anything. She just like held it to her ear for a little bit and started crying, like a tear coming down her face. And then she hangs up, and they're all like, "Well, what did she say?" And she was like, "She said all she wants is for all of us to die."
No, all that she wants is another baby.
Well, I don't get it.
That's an Ace of Base song.
Oh.
Sorry.
No problem.
So.
I'm used to it.
There was... shit, what was the other thing that was... Oh, and another thing that I didn't really understand very much, and this 100% might be a cultural thing, a lot of the times, every single time you see the ghost close up, its face is blurred. And it's even its whole body sometimes is blurred. So I was like, what the fuck? Like, are they... And then... When the first time it happened, I thought it was weird, and then when it happened multiple times, I was like, okay, maybe this is like a cultural thing, how they view ghosts or spirits or something.
Like part of the folklore or something.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, that is kind of strange, but maybe there's a disconnect for me with this.
No, they can't. If they show a true figure of a ghost, it becomes real.
Oh, they never got the release from the ghost.
yeah, they didn't get the signed forms. But no, when the ghost dies, you do see like a flash of its actual, like you see it unblurred for a little bit. But I do like the idea that they weren't able to get the ghost didn't sign off its rights.
Contact
they didn't sign off.
The portal closed, dude.
But there was
you get in that portal and you get me those signatures.
The thing is, at the end of the day, though, there was a good movie in here. It was just, there was just some dumb shit going on with it and stuff that didn't really make sense. And come to find out that good movie was made because this is based off of the Stephen King book Room.
Okay.
What is it? 1408 or whatever.
Yeah, 1408.
Yeah, it's based off of that book.
Oh.
So 1408 got made with John Cusack and Samuel Jackson.
Yeah. Two fantastic actors.
Before this movie even came out.
Right.
But yeah, this is it's a adaptation of that.
Gotcha.
All right, Charlie.
Okay, so when this father goes into the house to see these little girls, this man becomes unhinged. He is yelling at them at one point. They're all standing in line. He kind of slaps them all across their face in one pass.
We saw that he slapped one of them. I didn't realize that he slapped all of them.
That's like a fucking Futurama gag, dude.
Yeah.
Like seriously,
Mom.
like in a line slapping them.
Yeah, but it's not like it wasn't like one pass. It was like boom, boom, boom.
Does he run?
Okay,
does he run past them like it's the end of a Pee Wee soccer game?
No, but he does say like, "Fine, you guys just don't give a shit about anybody else but yourself. So I guess I'm gonna have to step this up." And he pulls out the kitchen knife and he's like, "I'm gonna have to scare the shit out of you." He's like putting it right in their face and he's like, "If you don't tell me where my daughter is, I'll fucking kill you." And then it was great because one girl, as soon as he pulled out the knife, just went and just ran away. And she's gone for like the next 45 minutes, just like fuck this, which I thought was great for a kid to be like, stranger
I'm out.
danger, I'm leaving. Yeah, I mean she got killed in the basement, but whatever. So she was doing.
She at least tried.
Yeah, exactly. So that father, he's like
fun story. That's Timothy Hutton, the lead in Leverage.
I couldn't remember what. Okay, that's what it was. I knew I recognized him from somewhere. So he's like, "Why did you kick my daughter out of the house? Why couldn't you have just at least told her to wait outside and let me come pick her up, or somebody call me?" And then the one bigger girl is like, "Well, she told me to kill myself." And he said, "Yeah, that's good advice." It's like, damn. That is harsh.
Yowza.
For a child.
Yeah.
You're an adult, Timothy Hutton.
Yeah, one of the other goofs I put in just because it was so funny. It was just so odd. They're all talking. Once they have their phones away, they're like, "What should we do?" It's like, "All right, let's share secrets." And then they start talking about all their first periods. And the one chick that...
as you do.
Yeah, you know, like all of us did. She's like, "Yeah, I was in camp." And it was actually starting to be like, okay, now that they haven't had their phones for a while, they're starting to become real characters. I haven't had my phone, no.
I haven't had my phone in 12. I don't know how I'll make it.
She's like, I finally, I got my period at camp, and I didn't know what was going on, really, and I felt down there, and my hands got covered in blood, and it was sad. Like, all my friends are making fun of me. I had to go home, and I was embarrassed, and and it's like, oh, wow, and all the other girls are, like, really understanding, and nobody's teasing or anybody. They're all kind of relating, because they're all
oddly
around
enough,
that
a very
age.
humanizing scene.
Yes, and then she's like, and my mom, she saw me, and she told me to just eat less chicken, and I'm a vegan. How come she doesn't know that? And I just thought that was so... I don't fucking know, man.
What? That's such a weird way to take that line.
But the part that made her sad wasn't that. Like, she doesn't even know that I'm a vegan.
Mm-hmm.
You're 12. You eat what's given to you. Maybe that's
Unless
why
it
she
has
looks
meat.
malnourished, I guess. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I did have written down for the why did they do it. They keep giving shit to the big girl for eating these cupcakes that are in the house, and she does eat a lot in the movie. But at one point, she's talking to them, and it's like those scenes where people are supposed to be eating at a dinner table and they're just like moving around their food. It was that with the cupcake, but she just had a chunk of it off, and she just kept mushing it with her fingers while she's talking for about a 5-minute scene, and her fingers are just covered in chocolate. It was so gross. Not taking any bites and just like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and just mushing this ball of cupcake stuff. It was very, very gross.
It's so weird.
So I thought you guys wanted to know that.
Definitely on the top.
This movie is so weird, though. I didn't even know. I really struggled to even find the scares. That's why I just did the 3 kills at the end, because all those happened within like the last 15 minutes. Up until then, there's nothing scary. The whole thing is just unsettling, and not in a creepy way. Just like, I don't understand what this is trying to be, what they're trying to do. They were trying to be artsy, but I guess it honestly might be worth a watch. And that is just so like, what is going on? And they were just. The whole thing was just uncomfortable because of how young the girls were and how they were portraying them and stuff. It's just like, this thing is fucked up.
A very uncomfortable watch. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Interesting, I guess.
All right. Well, I think that...
Okay, so, yeah, my bad. I have... Hashtag horror has a Rotten Tomato score of 50%.
Okay.
And
what? 50 or 15?
50.
Boo, that doesn't make any
There's 11
sense.
total reviews.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them are fresh.
Roman Polanski.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No, that's about certain scenes of this movie were like, ooh.
So, well, I mean, it's the classic that, like, not enough people care enough to decide to actually write a review on it.
Yeah.
So, like, there are people that liked it enough that they're like, I'll write a review on it.
It doesn't have a critics consensus, but... A couple reviews here. Hashtag horror isn't a fun watch, and what it says is hardly profound. Hashtag horror fails to even work as an cult oddity. That's okay, that's a typo. Hashtag horror is a prime example of style over substance. A blunt satire of the dehumanization inherent in social media that also gets off on sad detachment. Detachment.
It's so heavy-handed with it, though. It's like when they take their phones away, it's like, oh my god, what do we do? It's like, okay, you gotta be a little more subtle than that, because then it just becomes, like, unbelievable.
Hashtag horror is a bit like someone who is genuinely scared of something but tries to laugh it off. That's a positive review. So, I don't know. First-time director Subkoff shoots even the mundane snipping in a horror mode and makes the hallucinations pay vivid dividends.
The hallucinations were dumb.
That's all I'm gonna...
The only ones that I liked is when things were starting to get like really tense or weird, is all the weird artwork in the home would start to like pulse a little bit.
Okay, that's kind of cool.
So, my movie, Horror Story, does not have any critic reviews. It does, however, have a 10% user score. And here are a couple of those reviews. We've got 1 star from Holly Marie Dunning, who said, boring, very slow plot. A half a star from Ava Cook. Movie had too many problems to overcome them all and make a decent picture. The subtitles flashed across the screen so fast it was hard to catch all of the dialogue, and the actors went between the native Hindi language, according to Netflix, and English, with no rhyme or reason to the switching languages. The script was mediocre, which I would have forgiven if the acting hadn't been so horrible. From the first scream, all the female characters did was shriek and freak out and cry. Not one of them was worth the waste of paper used to write their characters. All of the characters were like the most ridiculous... All their characters were like the most cliche horror movie caricatures. They were ridiculous. No thought, no reason, no logic, no attempts to get out of the self-induced bad situation, just freak out, scream, cry, run and hide, get killed. It got boring. The end was one of the most cliche horror movie endings out there. Seriously, save yourself the time and bother of this botched job and find something more interesting.
I gotta say, that was a really well-written critique, to be completely honest.
And she's not wrong.
She was probably thinking, no critics review. Somebody's got to do this for the people.
Yeah,
let them know.
Yeah, there's a scene where they're like, okay, it's just us 4, and we all have to stay together. Let's lock ourselves in a fucking room until daylight, and
because that will save all of us.
Yeah, I don't know why they thought that if they waited till daylight they're good, because the movie opens, and the reason they like hear about the place to go check it out. The guy kills himself, and he does that during the day. So
But that was his choice. If they make it to the day, their choice is to leave.
And so they're in this room, and they're like, okay, yeah, we gotta fucking stay in here, and we're not going out there no matter what. And then right when he says that, you hear the voice of a character you thought just died, like screaming out one of the, like, Maggie, help me. And they're like... The girl is like, Maggie, she's like, oh my god, we gotta go help. That's so-and-so. And they're like, no, we just fucking told you that it's not, like, she's dead. Like, no. And she just keeps screaming, and the girls are then both of them are like, no, we got to go help her. He's like, no, what the are you guys are idiots. And then even one of the guys is like, what, but they're right. What if it is her? and he's like, God. And so they end up going out, and it was her. And this is the girl that just gives the exposition of like, oh yeah, and that was kind of funny because she's like beaten and bloodied, and they're like, oh my God, are you okay? And she goes, no.
At least she's honest.
Yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. It's just, no. I didn't think that the subtitles moved too fast, though. Maybe this person needs to learn how to read.
Yeah.
Got him.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha, Ava Cook.
Maybe that's why she didn't use any fancy puns or jokes about the movie.
Yeah, she has
think of any.
She has no literary skill. Yeah. So, I guess that's about it.
Sounds like about it.
Yeah, this is a shorter episode compared to the last two.
I mean, this is easily one of the weirdest. No, probably the weirdest movie I've ever watched for this podcast.
Yeah, this movie just ends.
Maybe of all time.
By the way, this movie just ends with her like leaving the thing. She kills the ghost and then she leaves. She kills it by she's able. Okay, yeah. There's like a broken bottle, and she kind of like touches it with her hand and like smells it, and she's like, oh, it's alcohol. And then she grabs one of the light bulbs and like smashes it. And this is like the only moment in the movie where a character was like smart. Like all of a sudden she just was smart.
So she used like a filament to like light the alcohol on fire or something?
She saw the alcohol. She figured out it was alcohol. Then she like grabbed one of the. It was just like a light bulb, but it was attached. She like grabbed it and was able to like bring it over there, and she just smashed it,
like
into
one of those hanging.
Yeah, she smashed it into the fire. So then it ignited it, or smashed it into the alcohol, and it ignited it. And then she grabbed like a piece of cloth that was like lying down, or maybe she had a scarf on, and she lit the bottom of that, and she started. It's like, oh, okay, now you're actually. And then I totally fucking forgot about this until just now. She's going to like light the thing, and the ghost isn't having it, so she's just like throwing things at her, like chairs and wooden tables and stuff, and like there's wind. She's like, trying to get down.
The real Luke Skywalker.
Yeah, and then she loses the ghost, the fire goes out, and it's just like all that's left is embers, pretty much.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, God damn it! And the ghost is like, fuck you, I win. And she's like trying
but in Hindi.
Yeah, and she's like trying to fan.
Well, it could have been half in Hindi.
She's trying to fan the embers because she's like, oh, come on. And then the camera kind of pans over, and there's a fan there, and the fan just turns on and ignites the embers to make a flame. And she turns and she looks, and it's a ghost just standing there like giving a nod like you're welcome. And I think it's the ghost of the dude that killed himself at the beginning of the movie, but there's no way to tell. But he just stands there.
I feel like there is a way to tell.
He just stands there. I don't even know if he gives her a nod, but he just stands there and like kind of smirks.
The old Force ghost.
Just smirks and then
dissipates.
It just fades away.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
And he was fully visible, like he wasn't blurred out.
Correct. Yeah. And then, but he was like colored like a goat. Like he looked like an. God damn it, Charlie!
I didn't even do anything.
You shook your head at me like I made a.
Charlie's face when he was trying not to laugh there was amazing.
That was not a racist comment that I made. I meant he was blue.
The ghosts were blue?
They had a blue hue.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah,
okay.
like an aura.
Yeah.
And then she used her hand because she dipped her hand to smell the alcohol to see if it was alcohol. She used her hand to put the fire on it and take it to the thing. So those were like I said, the one few moments where a character actually like
put things together real
how
quick.
To do things.
So the guy that was going to America just never made it?
No, I guess not. I think he was like going to American Idol too. Like,
wow.
Yeah, it was really because they were at a club and he just had a guitar with him.
Like you do.
Yeah. It was weird.
All right. Well, I think that covers it.
It does, Steve. Why don't you bring us home?
Okay, so if you like what you're hearing here, go ahead and listen to us. Follow us on at Movie Versus on social medias such as Twitter, Facebook. You can get in contact with us by using that before at gmail.com if you want to send us any ideas, suggestions, just comments on what we're doing.
It's Movie Versus Podcast.
Movie Versus Podcast at Movie Versus Podcast on Facebook, and Movie Versus Podcast at gmail.com. And then if you like us and you want to listen to other things kind of like us, there's always Three Wise Media, our sexy cousin podcast. Then there's what? No.
He's just thinking about how sexy.
Oh, Jesus.
What? That's what you're doing.
I thought you were going somewhere else. I just always make a sound after he says that.
You were thinking about how sexy the cousin podcast is?
Oh, yeah.
Right. Of course, there's Good, Bad, or Bad, Bad, the video cast that's in our network.
Sweeping the nation.
Sweeping the nation.
I was just thinking.
Then to spiral off of that, Brian, host of Good, Bad, or Bad, Bad, is doing another. Is that a podcast?
Yes.
Okay. Doing another cast called This Film Is Lit, where they compare movie versions to book versions. Which I think is a really cool idea, and then of course Critical Misadventure, our associated D&D podcast, where they just do their adventures and goofs not live, but for your enjoyment as well as theirs. And once again, as always, thank you to Jeremy Lamb for our intro song, and to Scott Blackwell for all of our graphics.
Oh, this is the end of Hortober.
It is.
This was the last of Hortober.
I think I'm gonna have to call my dad and say, "Oh no, I don't have any reception." Guys, are you able to call anybody?
Now we get to do stupid November movies.
What was that noise?
But
then
pretty
we'll
soon,
get sweet Christmas movies.
Stupid Christmas movies. But what are we gonna do if we don't have sequels to Home Alone and or classic films that no one knew had sequels?
I'm sure there are more.
Bye. Thanks for going along with my horror bit, guy.
I didn't understand what you were gonna do at first.
Movie Versus is a production of Three Wise Media. For more information, check us out on Facebook.